In the largest study ever conducted on muscle growth, 585 people followed the exact same workout for 12 weeks. Some gained 59% more muscle, and others, they lost muscle. I spent the last month analyzing 67 scientific studies with over 2,000 people to figure out why most of you can't build muscle, and it's not genetics. There's one workout structure that forces muscle growth even if you're a hard gainer, even if you've tried everything, even if you think you're a non-responder. But before I give it to you, you need to understand the 5 mistakes that are stopping your muscle growth right now. Because if you don't fix these first, even this workout won't save you. So, mistake number 1 is what researchers call junk volume. And most of you are doing this every single workout. Here's what the studies found. Your muscles can only handle 6 to 8 hard sets per session before they stop responding. So when you're doing 15, 20, even 25 sets for the chest in one workout, you think you're working harder. That's like doing 4 sets of bench, 4 sets of incline, 4 sets of flies. You know the drill. But the research shows you're actually digging yourself into a hole that makes it impossible to grow. When they took that same total volume and spread it across multiple sessions. So instead of 20 sets on Monday, they did 7 sets Monday, 7 sets Thursday, 6 sets Saturday. And people built more muscle with the exact same number of total sets. Your body has a limit to how much growth it can trigger in one session. Go past it and you're just wasting time and killing your recovery. Now, mistake number 2, 78% of people in these studies didn't train hard enough to trigger any muscle growth. The researchers tested this. They had people do their normal workouts, then measured how close they actually got to failure, and 78% of them stopped their sets with 5 or more reps left in the tank. Your muscles only grow when you push them beyond what they're used to. If you're stopping your sets when it just starts to get hard, you're not giving your body any reason to adapt. The studies show you need to train to 1 or 2 reps away from failure, not to absolute failure in every set. That just destroys your recovery, but close enough that the last 2 or 3 reps are genuinely hard. Most of you think you're training hard, but the research proves you're leaving the most important reps, the ones that actually force growth, on the table every single set. Mistake number 3, sleep deprivation. And this one's brutal. A study in 2021 measured exactly what happens when you don't sleep. Just one night of bad sleep reduced muscle protein synthesis by 18%. Your testosterone dropped by 24%, and your cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down muscle, went up by 21%. That's just from one night. Now think about how many nights you're getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Your body is in a constant catabolic state where it's breaking down more muscle than it's building. And here's the part that should scare you. Chronic sleep restriction creates a hormonal environment where it's almost impossible to build muscle, no matter how good your workout is. You could be doing everything else perfectly, but if you're not sleeping 7 to 9 hours, you're fighting an uphill battle that science says you just can't win. Now, here is a mistake that's costing you double the muscle growth. Recent studies discovered something called loaded stretching, and it completely changes how you should be training. Here's what they found. Exercises that train a muscle in its stretched position build significantly more muscle than exercises that train it in the shortened position. We're talking about massive differences. Overhead tricep extensions versus pushdowns. The overhead version built 40% more long head tricep growth. Romanian deadlifts versus leg curls for hamstrings. RDLs destroyed leg curls despite both exercises showing the same muscle activation. The researchers kept testing this across different muscles, and they found the same thing every time. Train the muscle when it's stretched under load, and you get approximately double the growth compared to training it shortened. But here's the problem. Most people are doing this backwards. They're choosing exercises that feel good, that give them a pump, that make the muscle burn, but the research shows those exercises are leaving half your potential gains on the table. And mistake number 5, you're not applying progressive overload. This is the most basic principle of muscle growth, and somehow it's the most ignored. Your muscles only grow when they're forced to adapt to a stimulus they haven't experienced before. That means every single week you need to be lifting lifting more weight, doing more reps, or adding more sets than you did the week before. But here's what happens. Most people walk into the gym and do the same weights, same reps, and same sets they did last month. They've been benching 135 for 3 sets of 10 for 6 months straight, and they wonder why their chest isn't growing. Your body has no reason to build new muscle if you're not consistently asking it to do more than it did before. The stimulus has to increase or adaptation stops. Now, let me show you the workout, and this isn't some random program I threw together in 5 minutes. Every single exercise, every set and rep range, every rest period, it's all based on what the research shows actually forces muscle growth in people who struggle to build muscle. So the first option is the 4-day upper-lower split, and this is the most efficient option according to the research. Studies show this gives you about 85% of maximum muscle gains, with 30% less time in the gym compared to higher frequency programs. You're getting almost all the results with significantly less total training time. Here's how it works. You're training 4 days per week, 2 upper body days and 2 lower body days. Each muscle group gets hit twice per week with a total of 12 to 16 sets. And because you're only training half your body each session, you can really focus and bring high intensity to every set. Let me walk you through what a week looks like. On Monday, you're doing upper body A. You start with a flat barbell bench press, 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps. This is your main pressing exercise for the chest. You're resting about 2 to 3 minutes between sets because this is a heavy compound lift and you need full recovery to maintain your strength across all 4 sets. Next, you're doing bent over barbell rows, 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps. This will be your main horizontal pulling movement for your back. Same rest period, 2 to 3 minutes. You're pairing these 2 exercises because they work opposite muscle groups, so your chest is resting while you train your back. Then you move to standing overhead press. You'll do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. This hits your shoulders and the upper portion of your chest, but you're using a slightly higher rep range here because shoulder joints respond better to moderate loads. After that, lat pull downs, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. This is your vertical pulling exercise to complement the horizontal rows you did earlier. Together, these 2 exercises hit your entire back from multiple angles. Now here's where the loaded stretching comes in. You're doing overhead tricep extensions, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Remember from the research, overhead extensions build 40% more long head tricep growth than pushdowns because the shoulder flexion puts the tricep in a stretched position under load. This is exactly what we want. And you finish with standing barbell curls, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps for the biceps. That entire workout takes just 45 to 55 minutes. Now, Tuesday is lower body A. You start with back squats, 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps. You're squatting deep, keeping your torso as upright as possible and really loading those quads through the full range of motion. Next, Romanian deadlifts, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Pay attention here. This is the perfect example of loaded stretching for hamstrings. You're keeping a slight bend in your knees and you're really feeling that stretch at the bottom of every single rep. Then leg press, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. This adds more quad volume without the spinal loading of squats, so you can push harder without worrying about your lower back giving out first. After that, seated leg curls, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. You're adding direct hamstring isolation here to complement those RDLs. And you finish with standing calf raises. But here's the trick. You're only doing the bottom half of the movement, 4 sets of 12 to 20 reps, and you're pausing for 2 to 3 seconds in that stretched position at the bottom. The studies show these lengthened partials for calves produce better growth than full range of motion. Thursday, upper body B. Different exercises, same muscle groups. You start with an incline dumbbell press, 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. The incline angle puts your chest in a stretched position at the bottom, loaded stretching again. Plus, dumbbells let you get a deeper stretch than a barbell ever could. Next, weighted pull-ups, 4 sets of 6 to 10 reps. If you can't do pull-ups with added weight yet, use a band for assistance or just do lat pull-downs. Then one-arm dumbbell rows, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps per arm. This lets you focus on each side individually and get a massive stretch by really reaching forward at the bottom. After that, dumbbell lateral raises, 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps for your side delts. These are essential because your shoulders need direct isolation work to grow. Then close grip bench press, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. This is your compound tricep exercise where you can use heavier weight than the overhead extensions, and you finish with preacher curls, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. The preacher bench puts your biceps in a stretched position at the bottom of each rep. And Friday, lower body B. You start with front squats or hack squats, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Next, leg extensions, and you're emphasizing the stretch, 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. You're starting from the fully bent knee position and really feeling that tension on the quads in the stretched position before you extend. Then walking lunges, 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps per leg. This exercise helps fix any imbalances between legs. After that, lying leg curls, 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. You're adding a second hamstring exercise to make sure you're getting enough total volume. And you finish with seated calf raises using lengthened partials, 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. Same concept as the standing version, but you're working the bottom half of the range with a pause in the stretched position. So that's the 4-day upper-lower split, and each workout is under an hour. The second option is the 3-day full-body split, and this one's perfect if you're just starting out or if you can only commit to 3 training days per week. So you're training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every single session hits every major muscle group. You're getting 10 to 12 total sets per muscle across the week, which puts you right at that minimum effective dose for growth. Here's what Monday looks like. Wednesday, you're hitting the same muscles with different exercises to stimulate growth from new angles. And Friday, you're finishing the week strong with one more full-body session that completes your weekly volume targets. That's the 3-day full-body split. The entire workout is about 50 to 60 minutes. Now, you can follow this workout perfectly. You can train to failure, you can sleep 9 hours, but if you're not eating enough, you will not build muscle. It's physiologically impossible. Your body needs energy to build new tissue. That energy comes from food, and the research shows you need to be in a caloric surplus to maximize muscle growth. So here's what that actually means. You need to eat 250 to 500 calories above your maintenance level every single day. Your maintenance is the amount of calories your body burns just existing and moving around. For most men, that's somewhere between 2,000 and 2,800 calories, depending on your size and activity level. So if your maintenance is 2,500 calories, you need to eat 2,750 to 3,000 calories per day to build muscle. And here's the fastest way to figure out yours. Take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 15 if you're moderately active. That's your rough maintenance. So if you weigh 180 pounds, 180 times 15 equals 2,700 calories. If you're very active or have a physical job, multiply by 16 or 17. If you sit all day and barely move outside the gym, multiply by 14. And here's how you know if you're doing it right. You should be gaining 0.25 to 0.5 pounds per week. That's 1 to 2 pounds per month. If you're not gaining weight, you're not eating enough. It's that simple. Add 200 more calories per day and reassess in 2 weeks. Now, protein. This is the building block of muscle tissue. You cannot build muscle without adequate protein. The studies analyzing thousands of people found the optimal range is 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Let me make that simple. If you weigh 150 pounds, that's about 68 kilograms, you need 110 to 135 grams of protein every single day. Spread that across 3 to 5 meals. That's about 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal.